This is Second Act Sessions with Stephanie Carmody, a podcast celebrating second acts in life about embracing change, questioning the status quo, and having conversations that really matter. If I've learned anything, it's that your second act is yours to define. No matter what chapter you're in, your second act can be the most powerful yet. Welcome to Second Act Sessions. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you today to, film my very first podcast episode. I'm so excited. Yay. So welcome, everyone. This is my good friend, Carmela, and she is officially my first guest because she's been so important in my life, especially over the past 3 years. We have both been through the ringer, so to speak, with our personal lives. And actually, fortuitous enough, we went through a divorce at the same time. And so I think you and I have bonded even more. We've known each other since high school, and we have come a long way. So welcome. I'm so excited to have you, Carm.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. It's going to be fun. We're going to have fun today. We're both a little nervous, but that's okay. We'll just get through it. Anyway, so let's give them a background. So we met in high school, my freshman year. You were a junior? Junior. And we met because we started playing basketball together. Yes. And we were so amazing. Not at all. We are awful.
We won a total of 2 games? I don't
in
know.
2 years. Yeah. I mean, that's the worst part. But we bonded over that. We had fun. We had fun. We had a horrible coach who was just mean and nasty to us, whatever. We've obviously stayed in touch all through college, high school, college, beyond college. Yes. Went to your wedding, you came to my wedding. But then lo and behold, here I was going through my divorce, and I was talking to you a lot at that point. Mm-hmm. You knew what was going on with my ex, and I feel like we always would bond. We get together, right? And then we'd have like these sessions where we'd sit in the corner and just like complain because we realized we were kind of in a way married to like the same type of person, the same personality, right? We had similar stories. We bonded over similar, I guess, kind of trauma and technically abuse, really, right? Yeah. So then when I was going through mine, I remember you called me one day. It was a horrible day for you. I was like, oh my gosh, no, Carm, like, let's just deal with this. Like, come over, let's hang out, get out of your situation. And it worked out well in the sense that, it was horrible that you're going through the same thing. But at the same time, I think at least we had each other.
It was so nice to go through it with somebody else who understood. Yeah. Of course, horrible situation to go through, but when you have somebody else who understands everything that you're going through and can support you and knows that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, just makes it so much easier.
Right, exactly. And so we, like I said, for the past 3 years, we've been talking about everything we've been through. We can go into all the details, but I think in us talking and in our way kind of doing our own therapy or sharing what we're learning in our journey and this and that, even comparing notes, I feel like that has been like really the creation of this podcast, like us talking. And I said, this is what I want to be able to do, to share our stories, to share our lessons learned, to hopefully like prevent other women, girls from marrying similar people. I really would love to just share and help as many people as possible that, that maybe can learn from what we went through, right?
And if they're going through the same situation, already decided to go through the divorce process, know that they're not alone. And if they they don't have the support system like we had, it's nice to know that others have gone through it. You do get through it. Right. Again, like you said, learn from our, process, our mistakes, because there was a lot of learning along the way.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And so now I'm excited that we're here and you're my first guest because I feel like thanks to you, you were so helpful. I'm not going to cry, but we both like needed each other, I think. And we didn't even know it, but God knew it.
Oh, you were my savior. If I didn't have you, I don't know where I'd be right now.
I feel the same way, like in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Emotionally, sanity. You were my biggest supporter. So,
and I think that for me was God knew, like, okay, I'll tell my story of how I got there, but he knew that I wasn't ready to be like alone. And I feel like he brought me, not that he didn't bring me you, we were on each other's lives, but like the fact that you were going through it literally like 6-7 months behind me was like cathartic and crazy at the same time, but so like just helpful. Yeah. I mean,
from seeing each other, a couple times a year?
If that.
I mean, we started, I think, during the beginning of our issues, we started seeing each other a little more. Yeah. But then when it really came down to it and you were going through your divorce and I started my process, we just became so much closer. And
I say we trauma bonded, but in a good way. right? Like, not in an unhealthy way. Like, we've come through the other side. And like, I'm so happy to share my story with anyone listening, just so at least I can just shed some light on anything you're going through to show you that even at your worst time, God can always use it for good.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just everything happens for a reason. So I really don't have any regrets in life. I really don't. Like, maybe do I wish I wasn't married for, you know, with him for 15 and a half years? It'd be great. It was maybe like half of that. But then you can flip it the other side and be like, well, at least you weren't married for 30 years, right? So like, because I think finding ourselves now at our age, I'm 49, you're, what are you, 51? But I feel like it's like, truly is our second act. Like, what are we doing next? Like, what, sky's the limit, you know? And I think that's so exciting, but also frightening and terrifying at the same
It
point,
is,
you know?
but we're, like you said, we're going through it together and we have each other's support. And I just feel that because of that, like you said, sky's the limit. We're both so much happier.
Exactly.
We both feel lighter, freer. It's just been such a change in how I feel on a daily basis.
Right.
That it really is, I do see a bright future.
I feel the same way. And I was just telling you earlier how, like, when I was married, I would always say I was like the loneliest married person ever, which is not the way it should be.
No.
And now that I'm single, I'm the least loneliest I've ever been, which is so ironic because I feel like for me, and everyone has lessons to learn in life, right? I mean, for me, I was never able to be alone. I always went from boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend to husband. So I just couldn't even be alone. It petrified me to be alone. I saw all these other women, all these friends growing up, and they're always single. And I'm like, that must be so nice. Like, I could never do that because I just think I wasn't as healed of a person as I am now. I just kind of was reeling from my own childhood trauma. I was bullied my whole life, right, from a young age, all throughout my life. I remember being in like the 3rd grade and being bullied at like the schoolyard, and then in 5th and 6th grade being bullied, like, and then it continued into high school. Like, I couldn't get away from
Girls
it.
can be so mean.
They're so mean. I see with my nieces now. Oh my God, it's awful. They start like 5 years old. But then I realized for me it was bullied. And what did I do? I married a bully. Unbeknownst to me at the time, I didn't know that. I just thought he was so loving and amazing. He completely love bombed me in the beginning, which a lot of these type of men do. And I feel like that's something I would love women of all ages to know. Like, that's not healthy, especially because it's very short-lived. And then they love bomb you in the beginning and make you think these are amazing men and amazing people. And then you get into the relationship and you're like, that was fake. That was not even who they are. And who in God's name did I just marry?
Yeah, you miss
like,
all the red flags.
You do.
You're so focused on these amazing, positive, like you said, short-lived.
Yeah, I know.
Expressions of love that you just totally miss. That it could be controlling, it could be manipulative. I mean, there's just so many things that you miss because you're just in this state of bliss.
You're in a state of bliss. You're like, oh, everyone else is, for me, I was in Manhattan. Everyone else was getting married. All of my friends were married. I was a bridesmaid like umpteen times, like, honestly, to a point where I'm like depressed. I'm like, am I ever going to get married? But so then when I found my ex, I was like, yes, this is it. It's amazing. I didn't care about the red flags. I just wanted to be married. On paper, everything looked great. But in hindsight, I know I never should have. But to my point earlier, that it's okay because I've learned from it. Like, I don't think if I didn't go through that, where would I be now? I may not even be here, right? And I know this is God's plan for me. So I'm trying to always focus on the positive and what have I learned from it? And what can I impart to others through this podcast? But even like with my nieces, even at a young age, I'm like, if that boy is mean to you, I'm telling you right now, you do not accept that behavior from any boy. Like, our generation didn't talk like that to us. We're Gen X, the best generation. Let's be honest. And let's be honest, that's Kristen's podcast. Anyway, I'm laughing. But like, I feel like that is very generational. Like, our parents are the baby boomers. Yeah,
we never discussed emotions.
That's what I'm saying.
Feelings.
And it's not their fault. They were raised how what they knew, which is their parents were coming off of major wars and whatnot. And they were very closed, not very communicative people. But I'm a Polish and you're Italian, so I don't know if that's our culture, because I feel like both of our families didn't discuss feelings or emotions, not overly like affectionate and emotionally like available. But not that they were mean. It's just that that's just how I think a lot of Gen Xers were raised. Tough love, get outside, you're fine. You know, you ate when the sun went down. Like, we weren't really watched and paid attention to, which was great. We had the best childhood, don't get me wrong.
Freedom. We weren't watched by all these, like Big Brother, and we didn't have cameras and phones. And,
no, thank God.
on us all the time. Yeah. So it was definitely a more freeing childhood.
Right. It really was. I mean, I miss it. Actually, to this day, I get really sad. I get very nostalgic. And I'm like, I want to go back because this world is just so dark and evil lately, and I just can't take it. But anyways, I digress. I digress.
It was nice, though. We were left to our devices. You learn. You
fended for yourself. Yeah, you had to grow thick skin.
Become creative on ways to entertain yourself. And,
exactly.
Sometimes you got in trouble. Sometimes you didn't.
But but when we grow up, I feel like it wasn't about really knowing yourself or understanding the dynamics of your personality or understanding baggage and what are you bringing to a relationship or anything like that. It was just, you went to college, you got married, you had kids. It's boom, boom, boom. It was almost very programmed. And I clearly went against that. I got married later, but then I got married and I wasn't able to have children. And now I'm divorced. And it's just I didn't sign up for any of this. Yeah. This is not what I signed up for. And I feel I even see on social, TikTok, they're Gen X is are there any other Gen Xers who are kind of waking up and being what the heck? This is not what I signed up for. No one's coming to help us. No one's coming to save us. It's kind of a harsh awakening in a way, a rude awakening that you're oh, this is life. This is not fun. Being an adult's not fun. Yeah. I don't love it. I don't.
Being an adult in a bad relationship is not fun.
Oh God, no.
And I think a lot of us have woken up and realized we weren't going to take it anymore.
I think that's what I was telling my other friend recently, that I think COVID did that. I really do think, even though COVID was horrible on so many levels of what they did to us and the masking and forcing vaccinations, that is just beyond. So I do think COVID, in a lot of ways, even though it was very detrimental on so many people, but I do think for a lot of husbands and wives or, relationships, it woke a lot of people up in the sense that, what am I doing with this person? Or we're so opposite now. I think in my case, COVID in a lot of ways even pulled us further apart. And I saw how we were just going in different ways. I became very politically active and I'm, conservative. And I was really into, President Trump and everything happening in the world. And my ex didn't want to hear anything of it. And I just kept seeing us being pulled further and further apart, which had to happen. And I'm actually very thankful for that. So I think a lot of positivity could have and has come out of it in a lot of ways. People are waking up. People are really kind of figuring out what's important to them, whether it's change of career, right? Or leave a relationship, or, I really do need to marry this person. I think a lot of positivity definitely came out of COVID. At least I try to think of that,
reflect. It definitely made people reflect on what's important in life and if you want to continue or if you need to move on.
Right.
So,
exactly.
In whatever, like you said, whether it be a relationship, job, friendships, whatever.
Exactly.
It was definitely a revolution almost.
That's crazy. It's a crazy time. Looking back, you're I lived through all that? That's crazy. But anyway, so going back to I just think I really want to talk about, as we talk about second acts and whatnot, I think where we are today, we've come so far. And we've been talking, like I said, for 3 years about everything under the sun. And I'm this is my podcast. That's why I'm so excited for today, because you are the one that we were just talking about everything. And I think it was just so great to have you on and to talk about everything that we've learned. So that's exciting.
I know, it's been nice because we used to just get together and sit for hours.
And we didn't even know where the time went.
Exactly.
We're oh my God, 3 hours have gone by. Exactly. What do we even, it's crazy. So I think for me, I think for both of us, and as I was healing from my divorce, I did everything from talking to my energy healers and, I think we should go backwards. So I think for me, I knew that I couldn't handle it anymore. I was at my wit's end. 2020 was bad. 2021 was even worse. And the person I was married to, I didn't even recognize anymore. He was very cold, very standoffish. It was just very unbearable. And to a point, my mom was like, I think he's making you crazy. You don't look good. I was sick all the time. Throughout the whole relationship, I was just never right. And I remember very clearly, I got on my hands and knees one day, bawling my eyes out, crying. I said, got on my hands and knees and prayed to God. I said, I cannot do this anymore. I said, I give it all to you. Thy will be done. You decide what to do. Either we're meant to be and you want to fix him and fix us and you heal us, fine. If not, I said, I'm done. You deal with this. 2 weeks later, my ex came to me. He's I want a divorce. I'm okay, thank you. I didn't fight. I was okay. I was upset, obviously, and shocked. But I knew that this was the hand of God, and I knew that I asked him to intervene, and he certainly did, and put me on this trajectory where I am now, right? My new life, second act for sure. Maybe I'll have third and fourth acts, who knows? But I really feel that was such a beautiful blessing. I really feel like God delivered me from evil that day on so many levels because I just couldn't handle it. And then throughout my healing, I realized, oh, I was married to a narcissist. I didn't understand that. That term wasn't even around when we got married or when I got married. I didn't understand. I was like, this doesn't make sense. There's something wrong here with this person. I don't understand what it is. So when I finally realized that term narcissist, what he was, like the light bulb went on and it made so much sense. And then I went down the rabbit hole of narcissism. What is it? I learned all about it. And then what I saw was like, I think God speaks to me in a lot of ways through like social media because I'm on it all day long scrolling, that like all the narcissist memes would come up. So I learned all about that. And that I feel like is what I needed at the time because that was very healing. Like, okay, I'm not the crazy one because what narcissists do, as you well know, they just beat you down. The abuse is it's so subtle that you don't see it. And Jordan Peterson actually has a really good like half-hour video that we talked about. He talks about narcissists and what they do and how they're programmed and all the types of things they do in a relationship. And literally the whole time listening, I'm like, yep, all of the above. And it's just such a mind, you know what, like that it's, I don't know. It took a while to heal from, but at least understanding what I was dealing with was so helpful in putting a name and a word or a label to that behavior because I didn't know what that was. Like no one talked about that when we got married. Even during the marriage, there's something wrong with this person, but I don't know what it is. I mean, did you experience the same? I mean, you kind of knew from the beginning you probably never should have married him either.
Well, I think for me, the fact that, like you said, I sort of just ignored a lot of the red flags and just didn't.
In the beginning.
Yeah, and I always made excuses for certain behaviors.
Yeah, me too.
But as, it got later into our relationship, you realize things just aren't right and how manipulative certain situations become. And you try to put that out of your mind. Like, you really don't think, can people really be that way? Can people really specifically try to manipulate situations to make you
look for the good in them?
Or like they said, they're trying to make you crazy.
I will say that everyone right now, I think it's, they're a narcissist, everyone's saying everyone's a narcissist. And I think some people have gotten a little carried away with the term, but there are a lot of narcissists out there. It's about mutual respect. I think at the end of the day, he did not respect me. And I don't think narcissists respect anyone. I don't think they even respect themselves.
They expect respect.
Oh, yeah.
They don't feel they have to give respect.
Oh, 100%. They expect loyalty. They expect respect. 100%. They expect all that. But yet,
100%.
No way in hell am I going to do that because you're such a jerk. Yeah. Like, my whole family was like, what in God's name is up with this person? Like, I've come home from events crying because I was just so upset. Like, I felt so alone. And he's like my husband. I had no one to like protect me. I had no one to like have my back.
Yeah.
He always sided like against me. And it's just awful. It was awful. It's awful. So like, I mean, there's so many things we can talk about, like the examples, but it was just so bad. But I think...
But we are who we are now because of that, which is
so
nice.
Exactly,
which is what I do appreciate and love. Yeah. I feel so much peace. Yep. I feel, like you said, I'm not fully there where I know exactly what I want out of life, but
it's a journey.
If I ever want to be in a relationship again, but right now I just have that peace.
Yes. Well, and that's what, remember we were talking about, so I really just want peace, love, and purpose. Yeah. And I felt like peace for both of us was just peace and deliverance from that abusive relationship. Like, I had such PTSD that when my ex would come around to see the dog, or when he texts me, you'd be over visiting, and I literally would get sick. I would physically get ill when he'd come to visit. I'd get a cold, or my stomach would go out. I was always like, my body was reacting.
Yeah, when you got the text, if I was over and you got a text from him, immediately,
I started shaking.
Yeah, immediately your behavior changed.
And you were the same way, because I saw when you were going through your divorce and you tell me stories, like I understood what you're going through because I experienced the exact same thing. Like, they just make you crazy and you go into this other world of like shock almost.
You become physically ill. You become emotionally drained. It's just, I'm so happy I'm not in that place anymore.
Oh my God. Well, we're in the fight or flight. We're in fight or flight mode. I was in it for 15 and a half years. And they say that takes such a toll on your body, your nervous system. So I also believe that when your body can't handle it anymore, like in your mind, you're dealing with it, but then your body will start reacting, and you really need to listen to your body because your body will tell you when enough is enough. I was so sick for so long. Like, I was sick. And I realize now, I think it was because I was married to a bully and I was just getting abused for 15 and a half years. My body couldn't take it anymore. My spirit was broken. Mentally, I was broken, shattered. And then the last thing to go was my physical health. So I had all my stomach issues. I've been sick with stomach issues my whole life. It's got progressively worse. So I figured that out. I work with a functional wellness person, and I kind of tried to get that under control, and I sort of did. And that coincided also with the death of our first dog. Then I had a puppy that I was trying to care for. It was just a lot of chaos. And then we kind of got through all of that, and I was better, and I've always had back issues. But then towards the end of like 21, I was so ill because I think that was the end of our relationship where I knew we just couldn't go on anymore. Like, what are we doing here? And I don't think I was strong enough at the time to be like, no, I'm leaving you. I don't know if I ever would have, because I was just so in it. And in hindsight, I know I should have been the one eventually to be like, no, we're done. We have to leave. And I thought of it, and I just wasn't strong enough to do it. And I think God knew that. So when I prayed, he came back with, okay, I want to leave. I can't make you happy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. I didn't fight once because I knew I was upset, but I knew this is what had to happen. I knew this was very divinely like orchestrated. But then the problem is, here I am thinking, great, I get rid of him. And then what did I do? I got kind of stuck again into the trappings of New Age spirituality, which sort of kind of like took me away from God again. I'm like, oh, good Lord, like I can't. So then I was kind of on that journey. But I think health-wise, at least I was addressing like the mental aspect that, and the physical aspect came through. I lost a lot of weight, and I think I lost a lot of the emotional weight that I was carrying being married to him. And then when he left, and then when our divorce was officially finalized about a year later, I like the weight just kept coming off, and it hasn't come back on. So I think like this is the weight I was meant to be. And people are like, oh my gosh, she looks great, whatever. I'm like, but you don't understand all the suffering involved to get here. And I still suffer with a lot of health issues, stomach related. And I think a lot of that is from the bullying and just like, obviously this food and whatnot, this environmental issues. But I will say there is a connection between all of that and your body. And you really do need to listen to your body, because it's like almost like my body was allergic to him.
Oh yeah. I remember he would say too, he would text you, and the next day or two, your voice, you would have trouble
lose my
with your
voice.
You'd lose your voice, or you would get a sore throat, or, so.
And I think in a lot of ways that was, I realize now, like even the New Age spirituality was all your chakras and all that jargon. But I do feel like because he came around, I know I wasn't able really to speak my truth, right? And I didn't have that peace, or, and I couldn't speak my truth. And so it just kept shoving it down. Yeah. Because I know no matter what, he's never going to get it. We try to have a conversation. It just went in circles. I can't even talk to this person. It was just exhausting. But I was so ill, and I finally got to the point where I healed enough that if he texts me now, which I haven't heard from him in a year, I won't have that, because I know he can't hurt me anymore.
Yeah, towards the end, you did not complain of any health issues when he would reach out to you.
Yep, I was much better.
You had to reach out to him.
Yep.
So I do believe you've definitely sort of gotten that out of your system, which is really nice.
I hope so. I really hope so, right? Like I haven't heard from him in a while, so God forbid. Yeah, but anyway.
Like I said, towards the end, you told me about interactions that you had with him, and you were fine. Like you didn't tell me a couple days later that your throat hurt, or that your stomach hurt, or your back was out again, because it seemed that it always coincided with an interaction with him that something would flare up again. Yep. So you've had those issues your whole life. Yep. But they would flare up whenever he would reach out, or you would have to know that you would have to like reach out to him. So because you did a lot of the work. It's like PTSD. Yeah.
It was like trauma. Yeah. It was such trauma. And same for you. Like when you first, left your ex, you were a shell of a person, literally physically. Yeah. You were like
lost so much
emaciated.
Weight. I wasn't even trying. I was eating horrible food, which was shocking that I lost this weight. Or lost the weight.
But that just goes to show you with all that stress.
Yeah, I was extremely stressed out. Physically, my body was telling me that, something needs to change.
Yes.
And I was. Mentally, I was just,
I feel like mentally you were checked out in a lot of ways from him, but you were still physically with him, obviously, in the home.
Well, to a degree. I mean, I wasn't necessarily checked out. I think at that point, everything was sort of coming to a head, like, oh, now I'm seeing this. Now I'm understanding it's manipulation. Now I'm understanding these words that, again, we didn't really hear about. And I do sometimes think they're overused, but the gaslighting was true. I mean, that was
So true.
It
and it's hard to explain what it is.
Yeah.
You have to go through it. Because like anything you say, you're wrong. I didn't say that. You're crazy. I never said that. I'm like, no, you did. Yeah. No, I didn't.
Triangulation with him and another individual and trying to pit us against each other. I mean, all of that was, it was planned out. I mean, it's not something that just happens naturally. It was planned out, and
they're like master manipulators.
Yeah, creating situations that were not healthy. And even though my mind at the time was trying to deny it, my body knew. And
your body knew what you needed to do, and so did mine.
Well, it was stressing out because I wasn't doing what I needed to do.
Yep.
So I was losing the weight, and like I said, not in a healthy way, because I lost a lot of muscle.
No, you lost muscle, exactly.
And I was weak, and I just did not handle losing the weight or that time well. That last year was just was unbearable.
Same
so
with
again,
me.
my body just reacted without me trying. And like I said, it wasn't trying to lose weight. It was my body was telling me something was wrong.
Your body was just trying to survive too.
It was breaking down.
Yeah,
it was breaking down.
It was breaking down.
So, but then, like I said, I've mentally just become so much healthier as far as, I don't want to say mentally, I want to say emotionally. Emotionally, I've become so much healthier just because I know what I went through, and I come out fine on the other side. Just like you, like we've become stronger. We know what we want. We know what we don't want.
Right.
I think that's the biggest part for me is I now know what I will not accept. And I see it in you as well. Like you have, this is what I will accept. These are my boundaries. If you can't live with that, then we're not meant to be.
And that goes for regular friendships too, not just romantic. Because I think for me in my life, I've been like the people pleaser. I've been like the giver, because my mom is like that. And she's like a saint. She truly is. She's like the salt of the earth. My parents are lovely, lovely individuals. But I think because I saw them not get walked all over, but they're just so nice, and they just kind of always got like crapped on. And I think so I was similar, like give, and I didn't realize like you need to set boundaries. Like you can't give to the wrong people. I had a lot of friends in my life, let alone my ex, but I even friends who just were like vampires. They would suck the energy out of me. And I know as a Christian, we are going to be like persecuted and attacked more than maybe the average person. I don't know, but I just feel like it's been like the theme of my whole life. And I finally realized, no more. No with you, to my ex, and even with friendships. I had a lot of friends I think God even ripped out of my life that I was like even devastated over, that had friends for 20 years that just vanished. And I just know a lot of times, and again, through my healing, and I will say I've healed through a lot of different like forms, from, like I said, therapy to energy workers to psychics, mediums, even like on social memes. Like memes and like all the therapists I found online have been so helpful. I found like a narcissistic therapist. I'd listen to her posts, or I find memes about narcissists, or, whatever it was, the topic that I know I needed, God would put in front of me, and it would be like so helpful. And then I have my, my CBD I take at night, and I tend to get like downloads from God. So I get a lot of messages and whatnot. So all of that has culminated in me setting boundaries and loving myself, like not being selfish and self-absorbed, which is what I do feel the new age spirituality is very much gets people caught in. You become very selfish, self-absorbed, and that's not how we should be. We should obviously know our boundaries and love ourselves, but it's about everybody else. It's about loving others and helping others, and that's what I really hope with this podcast I can share, is share my journey, share any lessons I've learned. How did I find peace, love, and purpose? You know what? Peace was obviously getting away from our exes, both of us, right? And I definitely have that peace, and that's been amazing. And then love, yes, people think, oh, love, I want a partner right away. Not necessarily. Like, I just need to love myself. Like, and now I do. Now I think, I know I'm a good person. I know I'm awesome. Am I the best looking? Am I the smartest? No, we're all human. We all have different, attributes, right? But I feel like I'm so happy in my own skin for the first time in a long time. And even when I was younger, I was very independent. I was never like insecure, but it's a different, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if it's age or if it's the trauma that I went through. I just feel like I've come out a totally different person, and I'm so happy. Like, I'm just happy being me. And I love myself, and I love everyone around me, and God has blessed me with some amazing friends. He may have taken some out, but I see now everything happens for a reason.
Well, one thing that you told me that has always stuck with me for the past couple of years or 3 years is that, you basically told me people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it really
helps with every relationship.
Not every relationship has to be a long-lasting relationship. And even the short relationships can teach you something.
Well, I think they're all blessings, right? Yeah. Even like the bad ones, I learned from it. Okay, you know what? Like our mutual friend from high school that I was friends with, I didn't see it at the time, but she kind of came back into my life but I think this is so funny. So she came into my life right before my ex told me he was leaving. So it was nice that God had brought her into my life so I'd have someone to kind of maybe be with me during that. I wasn't alone. I just see how he's worked through every time and every season that I needed. He's brought people into my life, including you, kind of brought you back, so to speak. But what I didn't see was that people are mirrors of you, right? And they're mirrors of you until you kind of see it and learn like, oh, okay, that's just really, they're showing me how I really am. And what don't I like about that? Or what is that lesson that I still need to learn that I'm looking at and I'm not really seeing? And I realized this person was a bully. She was a bully. She was aggressive. She was nasty. And she came for me one day and I was like, oh no. I was in the middle of like grappling with, my ex leaving and it was very emotional. I was a wreck. I was doing my freelance PR work at the time and it was too much. And I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. And I was like, we're done. And it was a blessing because I think what that showed me was that not every friend is meant to be in your life. Not every friend is meant to be in your life forever. And when you see it, you need to set that boundary. And if someone's abusing you, whether it's a friend or a romantic partner, you need to stop that. You need to get away from that. You need to either tell them what they're doing wrong, try to articulate it and address the situation, or just get away. And that this person I'm referring to, I just had to get away from. And I see how that was also someone that was bullying me. And I still didn't realize it yet because I was still in my healing that I was like, you're just letting all these people abuse you. Why?
Well, and I can sort of remember you calling me at one point and like asking, what did I do wrong? What am I
overreacting? Please tell me.
You were questioning yourself. So it's nice that you were able to reflect and, look at what was your part, if there was a part. I know you were questioning it. So that was nice that you were able to sort of step back and like, okay, what am I doing? Is it me? Is it like, am I allowing this person to, step over the boundaries that I've created?
Right.
Are they going to listen to me when I ask them to please respect my boundaries? So I remember you sort of going through those steps.
Yeah.
And it was nice, that you were able to come to terms with your decision and you were okay with your decision.
Right. And I've had to do it multiple times since then. And I still kind of feel bad because I'm not a mean person at all. And I'm always like thinking of the other people, but that's my problem. I think of the other people too much that I thought of myself so little. And you can't do that. That doesn't mean I'm trying to be like selfish or self-absorbed or have this ego that I'm so great. No, it's just basic common respect and like being just respectful to each other and nice. And I wasn't getting that from a lot of friends, or I was just like, I can't do this anymore because it's like, I'm still back in an abusive relationship and I just got out of one. Yeah. I'm not going back to that. So like to your point that I think everything happens for a reason and that you learn from it. Even if it's a negative thing, I learn from it. Now I'm really good about setting boundaries. I'm always trying to tell you to set boundaries and we all have to do it in our own time when we're comfortable and whatnot. But once you do that, it's so freeing because I'm like, I don't care anymore. And when thinks, if you don't want to be my friend, don't be my friend. I don't care. Like, I don't care anymore.
I think we've said this before too.
Short.
It's not quantity, it's quality.
It's quality.
So
trust me, quality.
Yeah, you don't need it. And it's too much. It's too much to try to keep up with too many people. It's nice to be acquaintances and be respectful
friendly
to everyone.
Right.
But it's hard to maintain that type of relationship, that intimate relationship, like you said, whether it be a friend or a romantic relationship with a lot of people. It's just impossible. So like you said, keep your close friends close, and invest in those relationships and really, try to foster those relationships instead of just giving a little to so many people.
Yeah. And I'm all about being real and authentic. And I just can't stand anyone who's fake or putting on appearances or acts or anything like that. And because I think what the narcissists do, that's what they do. They act like the most amazing person in public, right? Like no one would really ever think your ex or my ex. Everyone's shocked when I tell them what my ex did to me. They're like, what? I thought he was so nice. I go, yeah. They all will make you think that. That's part of their act.
He was always so nice when, not that we went out all that often, but when we did, he was so polite and so quiet and
amazing. He was like the life of the party. I'll pay for that. I got that. But he was always trying to make everyone like him. Yeah. And like, I just can't stand that anymore. So I don't want anyone in my life who is is inauthentic. Like, I just can't handle that. And then, like, to your point, like, but I will say I don't have regrets because we've all learned from it. So even if relationships come in that are either confusing or whatever, I always try to extrapolate something positive from it. So like even after when my ex left, I kind of came in contact with someone and we're really nothing. I mean, I think we're kind of friends, but even though that was a weird relationship, whatever you want to call it, situationship, we certainly had and have a connection. But I feel like even that, we weren't ever dating or anything, but like I feel like God kind of brought him into my life for a variety of reasons. I think to teach me lessons, but also I think that was part of my healing, because even though it wasn't like the ideal situation to be in right after like someone leaving me, and I'm still, not even divorced or anything like that, this person came into my life when I really needed it the most, because this person helped me take my mind off of my ex. So it was a good welcome distraction, I would say.
Exactly. It was twofold. So again, he gave you the things that your ex didn't give you. Yeah. And he took your mind off the immediate stressful situation you were in. Right. And he brought a little lightness and a little
I think what he did was
situation.
He built me up back more like emotionally in a lot of ways, because like hearing, oh, you're beautiful, you're this, or you're gorgeous. I mean, I never got told that. So like for me to hear that was so healing for me. So like I very appreciative of that time and that relationship, situationship, whatever you want to call it. But I do, like I said, I just do think like sometimes that I look at it as a positive thing, right? Like whatever the future holds, who knows? But I mean, I still feel like I try to, I don't know what the word I'm trying to say is. Like, I just really appreciate like anything that comes into my life, whether it's positive or negative. I learn from it. I take, I don't have any regrets in that respect, because I think it was healing.
Absolutely. And you learn the good and the bad. Again, you learn what you want and what you don't want. You learn
100%.
At that time, okay, from this situationship, I realize I do need affirmation from my loved one, but I also need somebody who's going to be there for me all the time, and I'm not going to be second to anybody.
Right. Exactly.
So I think that also helped you learn, again, what you want and what you don't want.
Right. So. But it's just because your ex, they build us down. Like they just broke us. So like just having any compliments or anything was just so nice to hear, because I wasn't hearing it from anyone, and I kind of needed that. But then I will say that first year of when my ex left, for that one almost full year, I realized like really all of 2022, I was just in like a complete state of shock. Like I really think I was just going through the motion, trying to live my life, trying to put out like I'm happy. Meanwhile, I think I was just numb. I was very numb that first year, because I think even though I know what it meant, like the financial security would be ripped away, like I think a divorce is a death, obviously, right? But for us, it was twofold, because I'm healing from a divorce, which is hard enough, because I think you have to grieve like that vision for your life that you thought was going to happen, and the traveling we did and all the future like things we had planned, like you have to grieve all of that, right? But then for us, I think it's twofold, because then we had to heal from the narcissism abuse. So that's why I've been healing for 3 years, and I finally feel like I'm coming out of I was like a caged lion, for so long.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening to Second Act Sessions. Be sure to check out part 2 in the next episode, where we dive even deeper into this conversation. See you there.